Okay, here we go. Five, four, three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mud Liberty and Stuff podcast. I'm your host, Paul Shin. Hello. And I have another guest for you today, and I'd like them to introduce themselves.
Hey guys, my name's Joel Bottomley.
Well, hello, Joe Bottomley. So, kind of the way this podcast works is I ask a single question at the beginning, and based upon that single question, we just kind of move on from there. So, Joel, I guess my question for you is, how long have I known you?
Quite a while. We are related through the family tree in some way or another. Not really. We're what, second or third cousins? Is that right? Something like that?
We're second cousins.
Yeah, second cousins,
So
right?
so
So
this is a
quite a
first
while.
this is a first on my Liberty and Stuff podcast that I have a member of my family as a guest. Um, so I'm very excited to have you as a guest. Excited by all my guests, but very excited to have a family member because well, that's something that a lot of podcasters don't get an opportunity to do is to talk to members of their family. I am not in any way partial to having family members on as guests, but I did think that there was some interest there that Joel had when I started this podcast, and I thought that this would be great to have him on as a guest. So, knowing each other, I'm going to say I'm older than you are. I'm 45. And how old are you, Joel?
27.
27. So I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I have known you 27 years. I've known
Fair.
you before you were a spark in your daddy's eye. That's how
Also
long.
fair.
That's fair. That's fair. So, what do you want to talk about? Again, I leave this podcast really open to you and what you want to talk about. So, I'm kind of leaving the floor open.
Um, I mean, I'm interested in a lot of things. I'll tell you what I've been doing lately. A
Okay.
lot of that is been into kind of some fitness and health stuff lately.
Okay.
And I'm kind of outdoorsy guy, as you know,
Hmm.
into firearms and, exercising my Second Amendment right.
Hmm.
I actually spent a lot of time on the range this week. So that's kind of a little
Really?
bit of what I've been doing lately. So,
Okay. So tell me about your range experience this week. I'm excited, and I realize that you're able to share some, if not all, of your information, and that's something that I leave up to you. And if I ask a question that is off limits or out of bounds, you just let me know. But I still think it's something good I'd like to hear because I haven't really talked to anybody I haven't been to the range in quite a few weeks just because of current state of events. But I'd love to hear your range stories.
well, I mean, honestly, I say I'm privileged to be able to go to the range. I am super grateful that I have that ability. Um, so without doing any more than that, I'm happy to be there. We learned a lot, man. A group of other people went with me. We learned from some incredible instructors who all have great experience.
Hmm.
One of the most interesting things I think I had to do actually this week was do a lot of weak hand shooting. Right, so I'm righty, so I got to shoot lefty. I've never really done that, and I was incredibly surprised. I think everybody was that you shoot really well with your weak hand if you like slow it down and focus on it because you
Hmm.
haven't. For me, I hadn't built any bad habits with my left hand.
Okay, so you're a righty. So your instructor had you go lefty. Um, was it just completely crazy or odd or different or what? Tell me about it.
I mean, definitely it was unnatural at first. Like it was a little uncomfortable, but you break it down. Like when you grab the gun, so I'm right-handed naturally. So I grab the gun right hand naturally. My hand falls where it feels right. I can get that grip because I've done it a gazillion times or whatnot. I've made that grip. So I, that's natural. But when you do it left hand, you have to think about your hand placement and if you break it down on such a level and basic that you probably do it better than you do your strong hand. And so you break everything down, every piece down, sight picture, focus on that kind of stuff. And there was a possibility I shot better weak-handed than I did strong-handed throughout the
Really?
week. It was a close competition, and I was crazy impressed. And I have really enjoyed shooting weak-handed because someone never done before. I like to do new things, and that was new to me, was shooting weak-handed.
So was it still the same sidearm that you've been training with?
It was the same sidearm we trained with all day. So the weapon system we used all week was the same weapon system. We didn't change that at any point, but we shot weak-handed on. So we were there all week. We shot 4 out of 5 days. The second day we did weak-handed, and I definitely shot better the second day than the first day. I mean, that could have been a trickle of fundamentals than it was over weak hand, strong hand. And then third day we did a little bit of both, and fourth day we did a little bit of both. But it was, I don't know, it was really enjoyable, actually. It was a pretty cool experience. I was impressed that I did half decent so it was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I guess this is all outdoors, or is there some indoor range capabilities that you had during this time, or was it all outdoors?
It was actually indoor.
Okay.
A range I'd never been to. It was a super nice range, in my opinion. Not that I've been to that many indoor ranges, but it was nicer than the couple I've been to. I like the way it was set up. The physical ability of the range was nice as far as the soundproofing and capabilities of targets and the little flipping targets they turn, stuff like that. So it was kind of cool. We got to run some drills with that, which is super fun, and transitions and things like that. Later in the week, we worked on transitions and controlled pairs, things like that, kind of, pushing yourself a little bit. And we had incredible instructors. Again, I'd give them all the credit for me improving my shooting throughout the week. So it was a great time, man. I really enjoyed it.
Right. So is this range time? Is it, you think coming up in the next couple weeks you're going to have similar range time like this, or is this a once a month thing, or in regards to what you were doing, you think you're gonna revisit this weak-handed shooting style again?
I think so. I mean, I think I know me personally on my own time, I think I'm going to do it a little bit more. Most partly because I found it enjoyable. More so than I thought. They said weekend. I thought, everybody like let out a huge sigh, like, oh no,
God,
like,
yeah.
please no, don't make me do this.
Well, I mean, I go back to when you and I were in school. You were in third grade and you were bored. You had just finished learning about how to write in cursive, maybe. And you said, I'm going to try it with my left hand. And you looked like, the drawing was like a foreign language. So, that experience had to have come into your mind like, oh my gosh, everything I've tried to do left-handed, I've tried to cut an onion, I've tried to eat left-handed, and it's always failed. Try to put chopsticks in your left hand, right? But you felt very comfortable after training, of course, after some education. But you had some level of comfort there that you didn't. So it was kind of like, holy crap, I didn't realize that I would be this good.
Yeah, and not to say that, to, I don't know, brag or boast or say I was great, but man, I impressed myself a little bit. I thought, no way in heck is it going to be pretty. And it was decent. It was nice. And that part was also enjoyable. I mean, just doing something different, was enjoyable. And then realizing that, wow, focus a little bit on what you're doing, think about what you're doing, break it down, and you'll do well. You think the fundamentals, you focus on the fundamentals when you're not using your strong hand. When you use your weak hand, you focus on the fundamentals more because
you're like, I don't want to screw this up.
Yeah, really, you want to do it right. Your people are, you're trying to do well. You're trying to learn and improve your skills. You have these instructors there to help you, and you know they're not always available to you, so you're getting them for this period of time. You're like, you know, I wanted to get everything I can out of this instruction. Um, so yeah, and you really want to do well, but you think you're so uncomfortable with it that you and I won't say hyper focus, but you do. I mean, you think more about the fundamentals that you don't think about with your strong hand because it's natural. You built a habit and probably some training scars in a way, or bad habits. Training scars are like you trained incorrectly or poorly with
Mm-hmm.
whatever you're training on, right? So you've built probably a little bit of a bad habit with your strong hand at some point if you like, or a different habit from the way these instructors teach it than the way you learned or something, you know what I mean? So, but your left hand or weak hand, you have it. So
Mm-hmm.
it was really cool, man. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna revisit. You know, I personally revisit it. I think if I see those instructors again, we'll probably revisit some weekend shooting again. So it'll be challenging again, but fun as well. So
Yeah.
looking forward to
So
it.
it was all handgun this week then?
Yeah, we are definitely using all handgun this week.
So how many rounds do you think you went through in the week? I'm sure you
Uh,
lost count, but just humor me.
we
What do you
did
think?
we did about 1,200, 1,400 somewhere in there, which when you think about it, you know, we were at the range a lot, and we were there quite a bit. But we weren't just like slinging. Well, I can't say lead because it's lead free. The range we were on was a lead free range,
Yeah.
so frangible ammo. Um, but I mean, we weren't just chucking lead down range per
Mm-hmm.
se. We were very intentional about what we were doing and how we were doing it. And there's a decent, you know, it was a group of people there, so it wasn't one on one,
Mm-hmm.
but it was still great, you know, attention you could get and things like that. So, but you know, we took our time. We did some ball and dummy drills, things like that are pretty common. Um, those are great drills to do that build great habits and catch you when they catch your bad habits, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
So knowing that this kind of all kind of goes together, being someone that enjoys the outdoors, you enjoy firearms, you're a proponent of the Second Amendment, and you spent a lot of time this week on range time. How important do you feel um, that your Second Amendment right is to you personally?
I mean, to me personally, it's incredibly important. I mean, for someone like I said, as outdoorsman, I grew up hunting and things like that. So I know that's not 100% what the Second Amendment it encompasses that, but you know more things. But like that's you know I grew up around firearms, and not only is it you know important to protecting yourself, but it's something it's a recreational experience as well, as long as you do it in a safe manner. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's something enjoyable. It's a way to get together with people, and you can build relationships through it. You find other people who have that interest. Um, so it can be used. I mean, obviously, you know, people look at it in the self defense manner, and obviously, the Second Amendment, you know, goes beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's important to me, and you know, that's something for me. That right is something that I choose to exercise often
Mm-hmm.
on a very regular basis, and will continue to do moving forward. So
Yeah. Well, I do too. I am a proponent of the Second Amendment. I'm not a joiner of groups. I guess that's the best way to put it. So like I'm not a member of, there's two big groups out there. There's the National Rifle Association that's a big proponent of the Second Amendment, and I know that might be a spot that people don't like to focus on because of its uh, shining point in the media. But the USCCA is also a great organization, but they're different. They're for different reasons. But I'm not a
yeah,
member
yeah.
of either one of them. But I am a member, I think, of the biggest group of people, and that is I'm a citizen of the United States. I had my background check done by the state of Indiana, and I am a concealed carry permit holder. I'm a lifetime in Indiana concealed carry permit holder, and it's a I'm very honored and very humbled by that, and I respect every bit of it. because it says a lot. I mean, just to have that document that I keep in my wallet. It's not just a document I keep in my wallet. That document says a lot about me, because to get that background check by the county and the state proves that I am a citizen and proves that I do not have any outstanding warrants and I don't have any liens or judgments against me. So I'm not a felon. And by the state of Indiana, it's kind of like a second form of ID. So I actually have three forms of ID. If you want to know the truth, I've got my driver's license. I've got a passport card, which is a copy of your passport that looks like a driver's license that you can use as a form of identification. But my third form of identification is that concealed carry permit for the state of Indiana that I have that has a reciprocity in many states, and I hold that very dear and respect the heck out of it. But going back to what you said about people that you meet at the range, there's some crazy, in a good way, crazy experiences that can be had by the people that you meet. Um, I have met so many veterans of our military, all branches, Coast Guard, Marines, Navy, Army, Air Force, at the range. I've met people that have never had an opportunity to join the military, but have been lifelong advocates and lifelong proponents of the Second Amendment, and have been going to the range since they were knee high to a duck. So some of these experiences are great, and I actually met my firearms instructor outside of a range. But once he took me to the range, I never knew of his abilities until he put me through his training. And it was funny that the first training he did was 4 hours without a gun, with a dummy, with a dummy gun. And I was annoyed and frustrated. But by the time we got to the range, everything he taught me clicked. And I went, holy crap, he did this for a reason, you know? And I still call him today. And that training happened 10 plus years ago. Actually, I just talked to him last week. So it's those friendships you make are lifelong.
Yeah, definitely. I know. Obviously we're cousins, but I think that's a way that we've bonded. And I say we is I have a couple brothers, and obviously they're cousins as well, and so we've kind of all bonded through that. And our other, we have another cousin who shot competitive. Was trap skeet. I don't remember which. There's a difference. She shot that competitively for a while, and that was a way for all of us to kind of bond and have build a relationship. Include that into our relationship. So you find a commonality with anybody. It's a way to build friends and things like that, and for us
Well,
family.
and,
You know.
and yeah, I mean, and I like it. Just for a little historical perspective here, folks. We Joel, his brother Jacob, his brother Tyler, and his mom and his dad. We get together as a family at another cousin's house on the 4th of July and on Christmas Day. Those are the two big days of the year. And there were many years that I couldn't because of where I lived. I lived in North Carolina, and it was just too far for us to come. But once we moved back here to uh, the Midwest and the Rust Belt, we're an hour and 15 minutes away from that, and we were able to start coming on a regular basis and have been, gosh, I guess it's been the last 15 years that we've been able to come back and get back into the swing of being involved. And when the Wallace clan gets together, there's a couple things. There's food, there's jokes, and there's shooting. That's kind of the nature of the beast. Those three things always go together, and maybe depending on the time of the year, maybe a good game of cornhole, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think and like you said, there's a couple things that are generally inherent that are going to be there, and firearms are one of them. And me and my brother will say, hey, like, are you take, we'll almost call each other, text each other, hey, are you taking anything over to Indiana for Christmas or 4th of July or whatever? The weather's nice. We're like, yeah, we better take something, or at least we'll take eyes and ears, ear protection, eye protection.
Right.
We'll take that knowing that there's a good likelihood that there's gonna be some firearms and shooting or something, and obviously in a safe and fun environment, and whatever, we enjoy it, it's fun, and what better day to do it on than 4th of July, which is one of the times we get together. So
Right. Right. So, for my audience, I want to give a little perspective. Joel is a twin, and I'd really like to hear from you about being a twin.
I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, a lot, and people ask me this, like, you didn't say you had a twin. I was like, well, he's my brother. I say, my brother. Some I don't feel the need to distinguish that because I don't, I mean, I have two brothers,
Mhm.
and they're both my brothers, and I don't, but people think it's cool. It's cool. Um, yeah, we're identical twins. We grew up, we shared a room, we shared a vehicle in high school, and that brought a lot of challenges. Um,
I can only imagine.
that's a polite way to put it. But I mean, we're close. It's cool. We spent a lot of time together. We joke about, we've known each other before. You've known me since I was born, right? But you've known me since before I was born.
That's right.
Um, we spent several months in a small confined space together. Um,
And
but yeah,
18 years in a just a little bit bigger space.
yeah, we shared a room. I mean, I don't remember how old we were until we finally got to split, get out of the room with each other. We were probably in middle school, maybe, when we got separate rooms. Our, Tyler, older brother, got my dad's, had his own company, things like that. So he's really great with, construction things like, I don't know, contracting, construction, whatever you want to call it, proper
Mhm.
term. I don't know what that is, but he finished, part extra area in the basement, built a room. So you could have a separate room. We could all have our own rooms. Because our house was only built for two children,
Mhm.
not three. Our parents were trying to have another child, and it turns out they were having two more children,
Mhm.
instead of one. So the house was built for two kids and not three, and parents had twins. So here we are. But we spent a lot of time together, and like I said, we shared a car in high school, which is challenging. We had a similar group of friends, but we played different sports, and things like that. We built our own personalities and things like that in high school. Um, but yeah, I mean, we made it work. It was a lot of fun. So we messed with a few people along the way when we were younger. We looked more like when we were younger. So
Mhm.
um, we messed with our soccer coach a little bit. We switched jerseys and stuff like that, just to which is slightly cruel. But we had a lot. I mean, part of it was because of Skirth. The other part was, I don't remember what the numbers were, but we both wanted this certain number. So part of that was just being brothers, where you both want the same thing, you can't both have it. And the other part was we found a way we could screw with our soccer coach. So we had fun, and we still do. We still have fun. We're still close. So yeah, it's
Well, now
great.
it's great because you moved back to the same city that you were that your brother really has never left, and
Right.
it's you've been gone for what, 6 years? So no, longer than that. You've been gone since
Um,
you were 18, haven't you?
Yeah, so at 18, I moved to UKU. Actually, moved in my birthday. Moved into my freshman dorm on my birthday. Came back to town a lot in the first semester of college, which I learned was I later learned that was a mistake. Um, but eventually found myself pretty much staying most weekends. I came home for the first couple of summers, first 2, 3 summers.
Hmm.
But I spent most of my time in Richmond, Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky University. Um, had a blast. I mean, I made some of my best friends there.
Hmm.
So I did undergrad there, and I worked a couple years in the area, Lexington, Richmond area. Went back, did grad school, completed that. Kind of worked a couple jobs there until I got a different job back here in town and moved back. So it's great. I mean, that was, if you consider, I mean, almost 10 years from when I moved into college. I spent the majority of my time in Richmond.
Right.
So just shy of 10 years. and it was a great time. But I'm happy to be home, back around my family, and friends as well. I have some friends here, and also some friends I met at EKU that grew up here, so I hang out with them a lot actually.
Yeah.
So it's cool to be back. I
Yeah.
kind of
So
felt like a
how's the better half like being in Louisville? Is she from Louisville?
She is not. Well, yes and no. So she just north of Louisville, but she grew up in Kansas. Lived there till she was like 9. Moved up here. Dad got a job, so they moved up here. Family moved up here. We met at EKU. Um, it was whatever love story from there, I guess. So
It's a Cinderella story.
I don't know the Cinderella story, but you know, but it's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. I'm I'm trying to tiptoe around other questions I want to ask because we had some pre-production, then we talked about some things. Um,
Well, you
so
so health and fitness wise, right? So you've been
yeah,
on this health journey,
yeah.
right?
Well, this
Um,
this week has been rough. I'll tell you. This is I have if there was such a thing as a keto god, I am in not in his favor this week. But yes, I've been doing keto. But you've been a runner. You've been involved in sports and been running and have been pretty healthy. I think of all the cousins, you're probably the healthiest of all of us.
well, I mean I don't know, that's subjective, I guess. But but yeah, I mean, so me and my brothers, we all played sports in high school. We went to college, and I played some intramural sports there. I knew some guys in the club soccer team there. I played soccer in high school. I mean, since I was little, I played soccer. That was kind of my thing. Um, I knew some guys on the club team there. I tried out. I wasn't college level material, but I got to practice a little bit with them, and that was fun for me. Just got to get out and play and run around and do that thing. Got to be around some incredibly talented people. Played some intramural sports, but that wasn't a big thing. I got to college, and honestly, I did the freshman 15. Probably was my freshman year, man. But I put on some weight. I mean, I probably put on, I don't know, 40 pounds, probably from start of college until, I don't know, me at graduation. I guess 4.5 years. I probably put on 40 pounds, which was a lot.
Yeah.
I got out of college, went to grad school a little bit later, started working out, got big into weights. Probably early 2019, I really, I did weights a lot, but I never really focused on my diet. So I was like I was kind of in shape. Like, I don't know, there's a term for that, but I
Kind of in
started,
shape.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I worked out, but I didn't look good because I wasn't eating right. The working out part is easy. That's the fun part, man. Going throwing, weights around and doing the thing that looks cool and is cool and is fun. But the hard part that's not fun is eating right, right? It's
Right.
challenging. You have to meal prep, things like that. If you don't make your meals ahead of time, then you're not going to want to make them when it comes time to do so and you go out to eat or you microwave something or something like that. So pre-planning meals is the biggest key to that. So what I did, I started focus on what I was eating, and I probably lost. I mean, I started 2019 at 190, and probably less than 6 months, I was about 20 pounds down, which is close to where that was about where I wanted to be. That was kind of my goal. I did a couple like challenges per se of companies that put out they submit day one pictures, submit day whatever 8 week pictures. I did 2 of those in a row. Obviously, I didn't win any money.
Mm.
That'd been super cool, but I was not that person. But I was healthier and more in shape. And around that time, my brother started, my older brother Tyler, really starting to been running and things like that. And I've been running, nothing crazy, but I've been running a little bit. He's like, hey, we're doing a 5K. You want to do a 5K? I was like, man, I've ran a lot in soccer, but I've never done like a timed race or anything. I said, okay. I was like, yeah, let's do one. So we did one at the big park here in Louisville. Um, I don't remember what that was. It's Beckley Creek. I don't remember. It was just a 5K that supported the park because it's not a city park. It's a donor operated park. And so a
Oh,
lot of the funds from that, and it's one of the like the most, I mean, it's incredible. It's a huge park. I mean, there's a ton of, it's called the Parklands, right? I don't know if you're
mhm.
familiar with that, but there's a lot of parks within it. And there's running paths from end to end. And it's, I don't even know how long it is, but, I've never ran from one mark to the other, from one park to the other. And we run 4 or 5 miles out there on the weekends. So, but so we started running. My brother, we kind of have a little group called Louisville City Running Club. Um, Kind of little thing he started. We're trying to build right now. It's just like four of us, nothing crazy.
Mhm.
Three of us, four of us. There's not very many of us, but we run together. We get together on the weekends. We run. He kind of started that. We ran another 5K. We ran a 10K, and we made a leap to half marathon. So we did all this between June and October. So we ran two
Wow.
5Ks, a 10K, and a half marathon. Or two of us ran our first half marathon. All those races were my first race I ever ran. And one of our other guys in the group, Theo, he ran cross country and stuff in high school, and so he's a pretty seasoned runner. He's done a lot more than we have. We've never done anything, so it was our first for everything. We started running a lot. It was fun, man. The half marathon we ran in October is the Urban Bourbon half marathon, which runs through Louisville. So I don't know if anybody listening is super familiar with that area, but it starts downtown at 4th Street Live. You go run out, and you about halfway through, you're in Cherokee Park, and you come back in and finish next 4th Street Live. So it's really cool. There's a lot of music and food. I mean, it's urban bourbon, right? So you get bourbon at the end. There's tons of different bourbons, tastings. You get shirts. All that stuff's included in your entry fee to the race. So lots of bourbon, free food. The band was actually really good. I thought it was going to be something super cheesy, but they were great. So it finished with like after party at 4th Street Live, which is like the biggest, you know, night scene, whatever you want to call it, area in Louisville, or one of
Yeah.
them at least.
Mhm.
And it's like 9 or 10 in the morning, and everybody's down there partying. So it's kind of weird, but it's fun.
Yeah.
So I mean, the race went off at 8 or 7:30 or something. It was early. It was dark, a little cool, but the temperature was actually great for running. We had a blast. It was fun, man.
That was your half marathon?
Yeah, half marathon. So I mean, there's other ones, but that one's one of the big ones. That one's the big one in Louisville, and there's also like the Derby Festival, the mini. It's what we call it here,
Mhm.
the mini marathon, and I think there's a full marathon at Derby time too, or maybe it's another time. But kind of some of the bigger races in the Louisville area as far as distance wise.
Mhm.
Of course, the mini's been postponed because of COVID and all that. Because Derby, the whole Derby Festival, has all been moved.
Oh, is it September? Is that when they moved it to?
The Man, I don't remember. Derby, I think, is in September,
Right.
but
Are they trying to
Thunder.
are they just trying to push everything to the week or two before, just like to try to keep consistency with the events?
I think so. They're trying to keep a similar schedule. They just obviously shoved it all back into closer to fall or in the fall,
Yeah. Because I know the
late
Forecasting
August.
Festival, they just canceled that.
Yeah, that's huge too, right? So that
Yeah.
got canceled, and that's a big. I mean, as far as business and tourism in Louisville, I mean, this was before all the restaurants and things were very limited, and a lot of businesses closed. Those are huge things that bring in money for Louisville. Massive things, and they all were canceled or postponed and things like that. So it's been a tough. I'm sure the economy everywhere. It's been incredibly tough. Well, I know guys who were trained to run the mini, and now they're not,
Yeah.
or they're backing off. They're readjusting their training schedule and things like that. So it's supposed to be in a few weeks. So, but I don't know. I might run it now. It's been postponed. See if I can find some time to train. We'll see.
If anything, I'm at the where you're at the 5K turned into a 10K turned into a half marathon. I'm kind of in that realm of couch to 5K.
Hey man,
So
that's all right. You got to start somewhere.
right, yeah, I've started the couch to 5K about a dozen times, and I've
you,
gotten to the point of where seriously I've gotten to the end of where I can actually run a 5K, and then something like a no control by me. Something happens, something changes, something gets in the way, and I lose it all. So I'm now that I've got my weight down to where I can actually uh, So this is the not safe for work portion, folks. I have, all runners have one fear. What is that one fear, Joel Bottomley?
For me,
No, runners,
oh man,
just as in general. What is the one fear that all runners have?
I mean, obviously that you don't finish the race. I mean, for some
No,
people,
no, 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 no. Even more important than that. Come on now. I'm putting you on the
okay,
spot.
I think I'm picking up where you're going. That's gonna be using the restroom where you're going, right? Is that where you're going
I
with it?
don't want to drop a deuce
Yeah,
after I've started to run.
I'm not gonna say that I haven't been there, but you sometimes you start running, and you're like, literally, oh crap,
Yeah,
and
literally. It's
yeah, very
so
literally, and you just, man, I mean, my first 5K was like that, and I was like, I was at mile 1, and
no.
that's not very far, and I was like, no, we're good. You know, for me, I've never had to stop. Luckily, I've been able to push through, not
Not no no
not
no
push
not push
too
through.
hard. I've
Hold
been
on.
able to not
You've been
push
able to hold
through.
on.
Maybe that's the case. Yeah. So I've been able to hold off long enough to get to the other race. Hopefully, I didn't push through. I've been able to. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, a lot of races have porter pots along the way. I mean, the line. If you ever go to any kind of race, 5K, there'd be a line of porter pots there, and they're stacked because everybody's emptying the tank before they get out on the run.
Yeah.
Every race is like that, which is funny, but I mean, it happens. You got to go. You got to do it then. If not, you'll be at mile 1 like me and going, oh crap.
All right,
So,
so here's a short story of the last time I did a couch to 5K, and when my wife listens to this podcast, she will giggle because she was there for this. So I was doing a couch to 5K, and I think I was on day. It's supposed to be a 30 days, um, and I was on, I don't know, about day 20, and I was doing a run late at night. I tried to stay in the neighborhood. I had found a couple of loops. I had found a 1 mile loop, a 2 mile loop, a 3.2 mile loop. I mean, it was great. I found these great runs. But there were, in the 1 mile loop, when you got in between, I guess it was in between 2 and 3, I was, I had to find a couple extra streets to go to meet that demand of the time limit. So I found an extra street, and lo and behold, guess what happened?
yep.
I had to go.
Mm-hmm.
It was at about 9 o'clock at night, and luckily, one of my neighbors was doing construction on their house, and they had a porta potty out front for their construction workers.
That's blessed right there.
It's a blessing. Well, now that's a
Yeah.
blessing. So here's the curse part. I had been tracking myself with an app. So every time I finished my portion, you could put a little thumbs up or you put a little this, and I had forgotten that I had connected this with Facebook.
Oh yeah, you stopped for
And
a minute, huh?
I stopped for a minute, and then when I got back, I put a little note that said, "Man, I'm glad that porta potty was there," and I didn't realize that I'd shared it with the world.
Yeah, you had.
And some random people that I didn't know very well were responding and making posts or making comments on my posts. And not until 2 or 3 days later did my wife say, "Have you looked at Facebook recently? Did you realize you told everybody that you dropped a deuce in a porta potty near our home?" And I went, "No, I didn't. No, 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 I didn't. I didn't do this." And lo and behold, yes, I did.
Yeah, I
So,
mean,
folks,
nature
if you could go
calls.
back in Facebook and look, I can't remember what year that was. I think that was maybe 2014 or 15. Yeah, I was. I think it was when I turned 40, so that would have been 2015. Yeah, that was a horrible year for posting stupid things. Well, I post stupid things on Facebook all the time, but for getting a little bit too intimate in regards to my private time, my constitution.
Yeah, when nature calls, sometimes you gotta take care of it, however that may be. Sometimes, but yeah, we've really found a way to enjoy running. Like I said, my brother has that Louisville City Run Club that he kind of runs, haha, per se, and we have a Facebook group, and we have a group on, I think, Strava, however you said that running app. I don't know what you use, but if you use that, link up on there, hop in there. You can, if you're gonna start running, no better time than now to start. Post your runs on there, and you can kind of see what we're doing. We can see what we're doing. There's a list, like the like button is called kudos. We'll give you some kudos on your run. It posts a little map and stuff shows up so people can see where you're running, things like that. Check
Just
your
don't, just don't, just don't run a heart. Just don't run. There's a guy that ran a kangaroo, a route that looks like a kangaroo. Don't do
see,
that.
that's cool.
Is it cool to you? I don't
I
know.
mean, that's cool. I don't know. It takes a lot of time and effort that I don't have or want to put forward to do so, but
Mm.
that's neat, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I think it's neat because there's no way in heck I'm doing it, but hey, I don't know. But yeah, so we run a lot. We're waiting for the distancing to calm down to be able to run as a group again. Because it's fun to run as a group. You don't got to plug your headphones in. You can have conversation and stuff. Um, Whatever. There's like I said, we run the parklands pretty often, and I haven't ran them as much as my brother and his friend Theo has.
Mhm.
So I enjoy those runs because so far all the times we've been out there, they've been new to me. I did most of my running when we were training for stuff in Richmond, so just around town, through EKU's campus, things like that. I did most of my running there by myself. So it's fun for me to get together in a group now and run. I've been running Iroquois a little bit lately. That's a fun little park to run. It's a little hilly, things like that. I've been running that lately, and I haven't ran it since high school. So we enjoy it. It's fun. You get kind of, no matter who you are, when you get to the starting line of a race, there's a little bit of competitive in there in you, and you have a goal in mind, and you want to get there, or maybe you want to beat that goal, things like that. I had a goal for when I ran my half marathon. I ran that distance once before the race. It was like 2 or 3 weeks before the race. I ran that distance,
Mhm.
and I did it in a certain time. I thought, okay, well, I want to, this is what I want to do it in. When I get to the race, I want to complete it in this time. And you get there and you're with other people, and that that rush kicks in, especially beginning races. And a lot of people, and I'm terrible for it. I start out really fast and I burn out. I burn out quick and I'll slow down. But you get around all these other people and it's exciting, and you're just cooking along. Then for the half, it's long distance. You get part of the way through and you're like, woo, maybe I shouldn't have started out so fast, but it's fun. There's ups and downs through the race mentally, as far as challenges, where you're at. Push yourself, don't things like that. I think running, and I like to work out and lift weights and things like that, but I think running is harder for me personally. I think it's the most mentally challenging, or one of the most mentally challenging sports of all time, because it's just you in the road or trail or wherever you run. There's no one else or anybody else to help you. You have to overcome that yourself.
Yeah.
That's why I think some people don't like it. I mean, I love team sports too, and I hated running for a long time, until recently. And there's no one there to force you to go. You have to tell yourself to keep going or to go faster or whatever it is. There's, it's you in the road. So mentally, it's incredibly challenging. And I mean, there are other things that do that, but for me, that's the only thing I do that is that mentally challenging. So, you know, with you and your thoughts. So whether it's self-talk that that's a common thing people do in sports or challenges, um, self-talk, things like that. You have to find a way to get yourself through it mentally, and because it's easy to stop, right? Like
Mhm.
you just quit moving your feet, like that's it, you're done. There's an easy way out. So there's an easy exit, there's an easy quit. Then it's easy to quit. I mean, it's easy to stop and not go any further. So if your miles, your goal is 12 miles or whatever it is, 5 miles, and you run along and you're like, dang, I'm tired at 2 miles, you can stop.
Yeah.
So it's mentally challenging. That's the part that I enjoy about it, because it's freaking hard. So, but yeah, we got a little group we run. If anybody wants to run, join our group on Facebook. Paul, add us on Strava or Facebook. Get to running. We'll see you at a 5K. But yeah, man, it's good.
All right. Well, I think our time is about up. Thank you very much, Joel. Joel Bottomley here. Joined me today on the My Liberty and Stuff podcast. Thank you very much for your time. Just to kind of do a wrap up here, we talked about everything from the good old outdoors to family, firearms, the Second Amendment, spending time at the range, um, running, being healthy, um, taking a different look at things. This is a great time. We have lots of time on our hands today, folks. Great time to reevaluate our health in regards to what we eat, as well as how we can be more healthy and exercise in whatever way that is for you. Whether it's something in the house, or whether it's taking a jog or a walk, take the dog for a walk, or where I'm at, the Couch to 5K, or where Joel is with 5K, 10K, and half marathons. So thank you very much for your time. And this has been the My Liberty and Stuff podcast. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.